talking about? Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs? Playoffs?
After the Broncos have...
Playoffs? You kidding me? What talking about? Playoffs? You kidding me?
Even after the Broncos have benched Russell Wilson, yes, we're still talking playoffs. Crazy enough. If you would have told me Russell Wilson was benched, I'd say we are on to 2024. And for the most part, we are. But we've got to spend some time breaking down the Broncos' path to the playoffs, because right now they've got 5 to 7% chance of making the playoffs. And I think Henry thinks it's actually a little higher than that. And we're going to get into that. But speaking of Henry, we have got to get his opinion on Russell Wilson being benched, because we have not talked to Henry since. But first, got to welcome you into the DNVR Broncos podcast. We're rocking with Super Bowl 50 champ Todd Davis, Zach Stevens, and Henry Chisholm. Henry, the floor is yours.
It's horrible. I can't believe they did it, honestly, because to me, this is them just quitting on the season. Like, you've got 2 games left. If you win your last 2 games, like New York Times has is like a 20% chance you get in, which isn't great. But when you look at the actual games, like if the favorites just win every game this week, including the Broncos, next week the Broncos need to win, the Titans need to beat the Jags, and the Ravens need to beat the Steelers. That happens, you're in. Which seems like it's right there for them.
Yep.
And you just bench your starting quarterback, who I don't think has been that bad. Now, has he been everything that you want him to be, all that sort of stuff? No. Like, are you going to win a Super Bowl with him? No. But I don't think that there's really an argument to be made that he was a below-average quarterback this year. And that's kind of helped out by the fact that it's kind of a down year for quarterbacks. But to me, he was giving you some pretty good football. And so when you see, Sean Payton went up there and said, we need to get the ball in the end zone more. It's like, well, you have a quarterback who's the only guy who's putting the ball in the end zone. He's 6th in the NFL in passing touchdowns. Like, it hasn't been perfect. It hasn't been pretty. But to go from Russell Wilson, who I think has been as good as any other part of the offense, I think offensive line, receivers, running backs, whatever you want to compare him to take him out of the lineup for a guy who started 2 games, to me, that's just throwing up the white flag, quitting on the season. And I get it's like still kind of a long shot to get in, but to me, like this is the best chance the Broncos have had since you were on the team, like 2016. That was the last time they were in better position at this point. So it pisses me off a little bit that he's willing to just throw this season away for this reason.
I disagree with you on your very last point. The Broncos 1 week ago had a much better chance of making the playoffs.
But at this point in the season.
I'm talking like 6 days ago, 5 days ago. You don't have to go back that far. And I'm not saying this is right or wrong, because Russ had a great fourth quarter and was able to bring the Broncos back and tie the game. But Sean, and I'm just viewing everything in Sean Payton's eyes, Sean looked at the first 3 quarters and said we had 50 net passing yards in the first 3 quarters against a 3-11 football team.
Exactly.
And Sean is pointing the finger clearly at Russell Wilson, right or not. He's putting the blame on Russ and saying he blew our chances. He had our playoff chances drop from 80% if we win out to now 20% if we win out, because he was not able to run my game plan. He was not able to function in an offense for 3 quarters until the game was just out of hand. Now, again, I give Russ a lot of credit for the fourth quarter. I don't think Sean does.
Yeah, and I think that, like you said, Sean's looking at the entire game. And throughout their game, that was many times that the Broncos should have took advantage of either field position or just been able to put more points on the board, to where the whole dynamic of that game changes completely. When you're up and able to score points, the way teams attack you and the way teams defend you changes dramatically. And I think that is Sean's problem, is that he thinks that he can have a game manager to go in there and even put up 14 early points. That changes the way our defense is able to play against opposing offenses, be able to really make the offenses have to game plan against what we do best, which is really blitz the quarterback well and our pass defense, not really our run defense. So if we can have a quarterback that can just get us some points early, manage the game, and not have to have a fourth quarter rally. Like I said, it looks good when it works, but nobody wants to be in that position when there was lots of opportunities throughout the game to not put us in that position. And so for Sean, it's like, yeah, you got us some points early in the fourth, but there was times in the third, there was times in the second. We shouldn't even have been in that position.
But you also look through and see like 50 passing yards up to whatever point. First drive, run, and then they give Russ the chance to roll out and he gets flushed in the pocket. Then they run on fourth down. Second drive, run, 3rd and 6, give the ball to Russ. He throws the ball up deep to Courtland Sutton, gives him a chance. He doesn't catch it, punt. Next drive is the touchdown. Next drive, scramble for a first down on first down. First down run on second down for the next first down for Jaleel. Pass to Jaleel for a first down on the next play. And then Russ fumbles because he's sacked. It's not great stuff. You go after that. It's the run. It's run again. It's 3rd and 1. Pick it up. It's a short pass. There were no opportunities. They're just running the ball over and over and over again. I mean, okay, there were a few opportunities. He took like a couple sacks, but I think you look at all that and it'd be one thing if you had like a guy who can go out there and do that stuff. They've got Jarrett Stidham. You're going up, you just need to go beat the Chargers and the Raiders. You're not needing to go play perfect football. I mean, Russell Wilson just went and beat the Chargers 24-7 just 2-3 weeks ago. Jarrett Stidham is going to have his 3rd career start. You're just asking for turnovers, putting him in there. And I'm hoping things go well for Jarrett, and he's like a great guy. He's a lot of fun in the locker room. The truth is, you've got one quarterback who's been statistically a top 10 quarterback in the NFL this year, and we know that there's more to it than that, but I still think is pretty obviously at least a league average quarterback. You're going up against 2 bad teams, and you decide to roll the dice on a backup. I can't buy that this is for any reason other than the injury guarantees after the season.
Let me ask you this. I'm just going to put these 2 quarterbacks side by side, and you tell me who you would rather have playing quarterback for you right now. Would you rather have a quarterback like Russell Wilson, who has been very good with the ball, able to get touchdowns and make plays? Fourth quarter comebacks, we know how that works. Or right now, would you rather have a Joe Flacco where he's going to get you touchdown, he's going to get you interceptions, but he's also finding open receivers. He's having 300-plus yards a game. So the touchdowns really counteract the interceptions. He's able to keep your offense on the field. I think that's what Sean's looking at. I'd much rather have more interceptions if we're dicing people up the way that I'm game planning for it.
Yep, and I would absolutely take Flacco. I mean, I made the Browns Super Bowl bet before the game last week, and now I'm feeling pretty good right now. I would take Flacco for sure, but Jarrett Stidham is not Joe Flacco.
Well,
no.
Sean
He is not.
Pointed to this. He said, I asked him earlier this week, what do you see in Jarrett Stidham? He says, go look at the 49ers game that he played in last week. That is Joe Flacco, exactly what Joe Flacco is doing this year. 365 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. So Joe has the interceptions as well. Jarrett is certainly not going to play a clean game, but 3 touchdowns.
Exactly.
And he put up 34 points on arguably, if not just simply the best defense in the NFL. Now, again, he had a very different game the following game the next week, but that is what Sean Payton sees. So, Todd, he sees Joe Flacco. This year's Joe Flacco, which is not the best quarterback in the NFL because you're certainly making mistakes as well, but he sees a guy that can sling the ball around from the pocket. Joe Flacco's not doing this on the run. He's doing it from the pocket. And Jarrett Stidham can move a little bit, but Jarrett Stidham, in Sean Payton's eyes, is going to win from the pocket, which is what Sean Payton wants.
I mean, Joe Flacco's won a Super Bowl. Joe Flacco's been in the NFL for 15 years.
I understand
Jarrett Stidham
but
has
at the
2
same
starts.
time, but I understand it, but at the same time, he's not had a good year like this in a while. And I think that Sean feels like he can, I guess, recreate what's happening over there. And when you have a good defense and when you have a running game, and I think we have a good running game, they just don't have a respectable passing game. So they're going to load the box. They're going to make you beat us, and Russell Wilson's not going to pick you apart. So we need, I think, a little bit more of a balance in our passing game to make teams kind of back off to make Javonte even look better.
Yeah, I don't think there's a running game. I don't think there can be a passing game.
Why is there no running game?
I think the running back's legs are dead. I think we've just hit that point. We haven't had a good running game in Denver in more than a month now. It's just every week they're combining for 3.5 yards per carry and picking up 80 yards. There's not much there.
And have we had a good passing game in any of those games?
No. But that's the other thing.
Loading the box.
You definitely. There's that aspect of it too. There's a lot of things going wrong, but you don't have receivers. If Courtland Sutton doesn't play this week, we saw it last week. Like you have Jerry Jeudy, you've got Brandon Johnson, you've got Marvin Mims. None of those guys have shown you anything at all at any point this season.
They're all good enough. Were the Patriots wide receivers fire?
When though?
No.
Randy Moss
Are
was,
they?
Wes Welker was.
I'm talking about these receivers right
last
now.
week. Last
and how
week?
they looked. They looked great last
They
week,
looked better,
right?
but I was telling Zach.
Against great competition, right?
Yeah,
But the ball was
definitely.
placed where it needed to be placed.
But I was telling Zach in the press box, like, with Courtland Sutton out, I thought Devontae Parker was the best receiver in that game. And they went and made those catches. Like that's just a veteran who will go catch the ball. The Broncos don't have catchers of the football on the team without Courtland Sutton.
I don't know.
Like Jerry Judy's not making either of those catches he made, and those were the big ones for him.
Yeah, Jerry Jeudy needs to have a good game. That's
does.
first and
Judy's
foremost.
going to have a good game.
I think he will
You
too.
think so?
I think I haven't talked to Jerry about this, so I'm not speaking for him. I think Jerry's thrilled about this move.
I think
Jerry
he is too.
definitely. Yeah, he and Stidham are just like the boys, though. Like they're just like friends. Like they're talking all the time. I was just talking to both of them yesterday, and like they're definitely excited. And I do think there's something to that, but I also think there's something to. There's not much reason to think that Jarrett Stidham can be like an NFL. Like he's 27 and has only gotten 2 starts in his career. Like I don't. First of all, I don't think you need to see him these next 2 weeks. Like, I don't think that this has much to do at all with, like, whether he's the starter next year, anything like that, because he's going to be on the team. Russell Wilson's not going to be on the team, and they're either going to get a free agent or a rookie. And I don't think what Jarrett Stidham does these next 2 weeks really changes anything. I think that it's just a competition between whoever it is in the fall. But I just don't have any reason to believe that Jarrett Stidham is a real NFL quarterback. And again, hope he is, all that sort of stuff, but he's a backup quarterback and has been for his career.
I don't think he's going to be amazing. Like, that's not what I'm trying to push. But I just feel like he'll be able to get the ball to Jerry Jeudy, to Marvin Mims on time and down the field a little bit better than Russ has been doing these last couple weeks. Not saying it's going to be amazing. I don't think that. But I just think that he'll be able to do a little bit more in the completion area than Russ has, and do it more downfield.
We also have to view this through Sean's eyes.
Yes.
Because clearly this is just his show, and we're living in it as Ryan Clark blasted Sean today on ESPN. It doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. And what we've seen, and anytime a backup comes in, a head coach is always going to say something nice about him, and then it's easy to be like, he doesn't mean that. But with actions, that's different. He just benched a healthy Russell Wilson for Jarrett Stidham. Maybe the number one reason truly is the finances, but let's go even further back with his actions. 30 minutes into the start of free agency, the Broncos' second free agent signing was Jarrett Stidham, giving him a deal that no other team was going to give him. The Raiders thought that they were going to get him back easily, so they were shocked, from what I'm told, that he went and signed with the Broncos, because they thought, like, oh, no, he's just going to come back here. We had him last year. We really liked him. He might even have an opportunity to be a starter for us after it's clear we're moving on from Derek Carr. Sean liked him so much that he went out and gave him a deal that he didn't even want to shop around. Jared just said, I'm taking that. And then at the owners' meetings in March or April, Sean said he's a number 2 right now, but a guy that I truly think can be a starter. That is who Sean Payton thinks Jarrett Stidham is. He's not saying he's going to be the next Drew Brees by any means and pumping him up where it's just absurd, but I do think that Sean truly believes Jarrett Stidham gives the team a better chance to win this week and next week.
I don't know if I go that far, but I definitely, like, Sean definitely likes Jarrett Stidham and probably enjoys playing that kind of offense more than he enjoys playing Russ's kind of offense. I think that's certain, but I also just think he's wrong. I get that that's what he thinks, but I think
that's fair for you.
I don't know what he's seeing. I mean, we saw it in the preseason. We saw it all training camp. Like, again, I don't mean to come in here and just like bash Jarrett Stidham, because again, there hasn't been a lot of tape. He completed 57% of his passes in the preseason. Like, training camp, he was the 3rd best quarterback. So, like, that's what you have to work on. You have last year to work on.
To be fair,
like,
Danucci was the best quarterback.
Yeah, absolutely. But I just don't know how you get to this point. Like, I don't think they should move on from him after the season. Like, when you look at all the financial implications, it's like you basically pay the same amount to him these next 2 years, whether he's on the team or not. And the difference is you've got to pay another $18 million the year after and $12 million the year after that. And at that point, I mean, the cap goes up $10-15 million every year. There's a new TV deal. That money is not going to matter at this point. Like, I think not even just for this week. I think long term, this is a massive mistake that sets the Broncos back because I don't see how they find a better quarterback than Russell Wilson next season.
And that just, you're not wrong, Henry. And
Yeah.
that just shows how much Sean does not like Russ.
Yeah.
And how
Absolutely.
much Sean not just doesn't like Russ as a quarterback, but how much he thought Russ was holding the team
Yep.
back.
Yep.
Especially when you look at the stats, and you're right, so many of the stats really outside of QBR and passing yards per game,
Yep.
Russ is in the top 10 in the entire NFL. But
Primarily because our defense is putting him in good situations.
Definitely.
He's gotten the
Definitely.
ball inside the 10, I would venture to say, more than any other quarterback in the league.
Yeah.
If you can't score from there, then you're truly trash. Like, I'm not saying he's trash. I think he's a phenomenal person. I think he's a good player.
Yeah.
But I will say he's been put in great positions by our defense. There's been a handful of times where it's been all Russ. Even these plays to Courtland, that's not Russ. Courtland is making those plays. And so even when you want to talk about great quarterbacks, whether it be Tom Brady or Peyton Manning, there's been times that we've all looked at those rosters like, who does he have to throw to? These guys, who are these guys? And he goes out and he'll be leading the league in passing yards and making all these guys look like all-stars because of him.
yeah.
Exactly.
And I feel like that's what Russ is not doing. And I feel like that's why Sean wants to see if Stidham can do a better job of just facilitating.
Yeah, and I definitely agree that Russ is not that guy. They're not getting that guy though. Like they're just not getting that guy. Like you go look this offseason, it's like, oh well, they could go get Kirk Cousins. No, they couldn't. They're already $20 million over the cap, and they're paying Russ either way. Like your options are like Josh Dobbs.
Nope.
Like I don't even know who else is in that conversation.
No, the option is a
rookie.
rookie.
It's just
Gotta
a
be a
rookie.
rookie.
And you
Gotta
look
be a
through the
rookie.
last 2 years of rookie quarterbacks, there have been two good ones. CJ Stroud and Brock Purdy. And there have been a whole bunch of them who didn't work out. And that's why, like, maybe long term, maybe by year 3, year 4, you've got something. But, like, you are downgrading at quarterback for the next 2 years.
I think this is the best class in a long time, though.
Okay.
It is.
Overall, as far
Yeah.
as quarterbacks,
No, it's gonna be a it's gonna be a rookie.
it got to be a rookie.
And you know what though? If a lot of people are questioning Sean Payton as a coach right now, there's no one else I would want to develop a rookie quarterback than Sean Payton.
See,
sure.
I
Right
go
now.
the other way.
No, because you look, there's in like his 16 years of calling NFL offenses, he's been in the top 5, like
Yep.
15 of those years. And maybe it is all Drew Brees, but you also see what he was able to take Drew, who was a good quarterback, and he made him a Hall of Fame quarterback. So I do still trust Sean Payton when it comes to calling offenses. And we saw the writing on the wall from the beginning that Russ wasn't really his guy. So, and he got the most out of Russ. He turned Russ around in terms of a number standpoint from last year to this year. So, from an offensive standpoint, I haven't lost confidence in Sean Payton.
I don't think so.
No, I definitely haven't lost confidence in Sean Payton. Like, there's a lot of things he does well. I think that this is a mistake, but I also think a rookie quarterback, first of all, he's never worked with one. Like, he's had one top 100 pick as a quarterback ever, and that's Garrett Grayson from up at CSU.
The Rams.
Never really played, yeah. And you just look at his personality and the way he interacts with quarterbacks. I think putting a 21, 22-year-old in that situation when he's just apt to, kind of snap when things don't go the right way. It would take a very specific type of quarterback to really mesh with that. And I personally just don't think that his sort of approach to the game,
What you're saying is Caleb Williams wouldn't really mesh well with
those
Sean.
two would hate each other before the season starts.
Yeah, it's going to take a man. And
It is.
For me, if I'm playing on the team or I'm watching the team, I would like a man at my quarterback. So
Okay.
I'm okay with Sean being harsh. I'm okay with him yelling. I'm okay with him snapping. But
Okay.
the young man that's going to come in and take the role has to be able to handle it. And if you're going to be a phenomenal quarterback in the NFL, whether your coach is Bill Belichick, you're going to get snapped on and you're going to have to deal with it. That's what the great ones do. You think Andy Reid's not yelling at Patrick Mahomes every once in a while? It happens.
Okay.
That's what it takes to be great. And if you can't handle it, I mean, I don't want you as my quarterback anyway.
Fair enough.
I love it. And we've got so much more time to talk about this conversation because this is going to dominate, not just the Broncos offseason. This conversation is going to dominate the NFL offseason. But maybe we're talking about postseason for the Broncos. Let's get into some playoff predictions. And if you want to bet on the Broncos making the playoffs, you can do that over at DraftKings. Henry, do you know what the odds are for the Broncos to make the playoffs?
I
over
have
at
no
DraftKings?
idea. 20 to 1?
I don't know. I don't know off the top of my head. Would you mind looking that up if you can find it? Because what you can do to DraftKings, all you have to do is bet $5 after using the code DNVR over at DraftKings to sign up. They're going to give you $200 in bonus bets instantly. And with those bonus bets, you can bet on the Broncos to make the playoffs. You can bet on Saturday night football this week. We got the Lions and the Cowboys. Then, of course, a full day of football on Sunday. So get in, head over to DraftKings Sportsbook. Also, bowl games going on this week. So no better time to be in than right now. Use that code DNVR to get that deal over at DraftKings Sportsbook.
I'm almost there, but they actually offered me a deposit bonus yesterday.
Love those.
So you get those even when you're not like a new customer.
Yeah.
So this one was like a 25% deposit bonus. Can't remember what the limits were. It was like up to $2,000. So you get up to $500 in free bets.
Right.
So I took like an hour last night thinking like, okay, how much money am I going to put in here? Because you get the more you put in, the better.
Yep.
And so I was like, I'll just take out what I have in there as a withdrawal. And then double it and put it back in.
Smart,
that's what I came up with. So I'm
smart.
playing with free bets this weekend, which is a lot of fun.
Love it.
There you go.
I have too many tabs open. I'll come back to it.
When you look for that, I'll tell you about if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit www.1800gambler.net. New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino Resort in Kansas. Licensee partner Golden Lake Charles, Louisiana. 21 plus age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/football terms for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, responsible gaming resources. I didn't leave you hanging there,
Now
Todd.
you did it. I appreciate you.
11 to 1 odds.
On the Broncos?
Yeah.
So you're telling me there's a chance.
I mean,
Better than the 20 to 1 that you thought, and I honestly thought it was going to be 20 to 1 as well.
I mean, that's what.
The percentages are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they'll offer you 11 to 1.
And shout out to our friends over at Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the largest daily fantasy sports platform in North America. They are the easiest and most exciting way to play. It's just you against the numbers. Instead of battling thousands of other players, including pros and sharks, you pick more than or less than or 2 to 6 player stats, projections, and watch the winnings roll in. Prize Picks is a really cool app. And me and my cousins were talking about it this morning. You can even bet on stuff like the slapping competition.
way.
Yeah, so you can bet like over under of slabs or who will get knocked out first. So go to prizepicks.com/DNVR and use the code DNVR for a deposit match of up to $100. That's prizepicks.com/DNVR and use the code DNVR. Daily fantasy sports made easy.
And one more thing. Broncos are closing out their season this weekend at home, and that means we're closing out our tailgate season. Make sure to stop by our tailgate. If you're going to the game this weekend, we're going to have snarf sandwiches, fire pits because it's going to be a little chilly. We're going to have so many games. Of course, we got alcohol, food, spirits from Breckenridge Distillery and Spirit Hound. And Breck Brew's going to be there giving out beer with their Optimus Prime truck. So if you want to check that out, check out our tailgate. Make sure to get your tickets over at the DNVR.com and join us. Okay, let's get into the playoff conversation. And there's two ways the Broncos can make the playoffs. Because the Chiefs are, as Henry says, one of the 3 or 4 worst teams in the NFL right now.
Yeah, they suck.
The Broncos can still make the playoffs by winning the division and hosting a playoff game. So maybe this actually isn't our last tailgate of the season if the Broncos win the AFC West. And that path is very straightforward. Broncos win their final 2 games, which would be including a win over the Raiders. So it doesn't matter what the Raiders do this week. The Raiders can win, fine, doesn't matter. Because then the Broncos can beat them in week 18. And then the Chiefs have to lose out. And the Chiefs are at home this week to the Bengals. I believe they're a 7-point favorite. And then who do the Chiefs finish against? Oh, the Chargers.
Yep.
So then the Chargers would have to beat the Chiefs. If the Chiefs fall that far from grace and the Broncos win out, boom, they win the AFC West. If not, and we're talking about a playoff push or a wild card spot, things get a lot more messy. So let's break down what that path looks like. And we've got a graphic from, I believe, NFL playoff scenarios.com to kind of help us work through this. And Henry, why don't you take us through, this is for what the Broncos need this weekend, but you kind of mentioned it earlier. What do the Broncos need in general to make the playoffs?
So basically, the Browns have one of the wild card spots. That one's gone.
Yep.
So there's 2 left, and there's really, say, 4 things that could happen. Maybe there's like a couple more, but there's basically 4 things that could happen. With a win, either the Bills or the Steelers would not necessarily guarantee themselves one of those spots, but would guarantee that they're in front of the Broncos. And so the Broncos could not get one. So as soon as the Bills win a game, there's only 1 spot left that the Broncos could get. As soon as the Steelers win a game, there's only 1 spot left. And that's why in the elimination graphic there, you see they're just eliminated if the Bills and the Steelers both win this week. The Bills play Patriots, so that's likely. And so
the Bills are rolling too.
Yep. So
the Patriots, they're kind of put things
Patriots
together
all of a sudden are also rolling. But yeah, so you got the Bills Patriots, and then after that, the Bills will play the Dolphins. So if somehow the Patriots pull it off, that's actually in pretty good shape.
You're right. Well, if the Bills win this week, then it doesn't matter. Yep.
Exactly. So that's what you're looking at. So you're kind of hoping for a miracle there, but if you get that miracle, you're actually in great shape for a wild card spot because the Bills will have a tough matchup. The Steelers, though, is where you really look and say they're on the road the next 2 weeks, first against the Seahawks and then against the Ravens. Those are 2 very losable games.
And the Seahawks are very much competing for playoffs right now, so they have everything to play for.
Yep. And so the way I look at it is you need the Steelers to lose those 2. You probably just accept that the Bills are going to win this weekend, and if not, the door's kind of more open, way more open next week. And then there's the third thing, and that is the AFC South. So the AFC South is a mess.
There's a nightmare.
There's 3 teams, all 8-6. The tiebreakers are weird. The Texans are in there because the Texans are who the Broncos don't want to finish second.
Right.
Yeah, exactly, tied with. So the winner will get the division title. They get the home game. They're not in the wild card race. And then you'll probably have 2 more teams potentially tied for that next spot. And what the Broncos want is for the Jaguars to be the number 2 team in that division because that's the team they win the tiebreaker with. And it gets kind of messy with like who they could tie and who all that works out. But that's what they really want is the Jaguars to finish second because then the Broncos get them in the tiebreaker as long as the Jaguars lose to the Titans next week on the road in what could be Derrick Henry's last game. So those are kind of how you look at it. Odds are the Jaguars do finish second probably, but they have to lose that game in particular. So what you need to be rooting for, essentially, root against the Steelers, root against the Bills. I guess before all that, root against the Chiefs because that's the very clear path also that maybe is a little bit optimistic, but you never know. Root against the Steelers, root against the Bills, root against the Chiefs, and then root for everybody in the AFC South to do the same thing. So that they continue to be tied because the way the tiebreakers work out, there's just a lot of ways.
Do the same thing. Explain that.
Either they all lose or they all win.
Either all lose or all win. And there's like quirks to that where if one wins and the other loses, then you want this one to win or lose. We don't need to get into that. But they all play, I think, at the same time. So you're rooting all win, all lose. Ideally, all lose. But it really doesn't matter all that much. So that's kind of where they stand. And again, by the numbers, they change consistently. It's usually right around 19%. If the Broncos win out, they make the playoffs. So 1 in 5. So I don't know. You roll a die at 19%. Roll a 6 and you got in, which isn't great, but it is what it is.
Our best option is the Bills and the Steelers to lose, but I feel like how far ahead are the Ravens?
The Ravens.
That's the thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they were not even going to play their starters their last game.
Yeah, so they're like basically done for the season.
Well, the Dolphins are right there too.
The Dolphins are 11-4. So if the Ravens win this week,
there we go.
They clinch
because they play each other
this week.
Yes, if the Ravens win this week and the Dolphins, wait, they play each other this week? Ravens
Dolphins, yeah. So
Oh,
that'll,
yeah.
that'll
Yeah,
decide
so
the
that'll be it.
tiebreaker.
So you
So it will
really
be
want the
determined?
Dolphins this week too.
Yes.
from a
Because then the
Broncos
Ravens
perspective.
play hard.
Because
Okay.
then, yeah,
What a
because the
game.
Ravens have to play.
Ravens, Dolphins?
Yeah.
And who's at third right now?
Technically, it's the Chiefs, but the team with the third best record is the Browns,
Oh, okay.
and they're 11 and
So
5. So the best they can do is 12 and 5, and technically the Ravens, if they lose out, would be 12 and 5 as well. But yeah, it all comes down to this way. Because
Okay.
if they win, well, the Browns can't catch them. No one can catch them.
Yeah.
Then and the Chiefs wouldn't be able. No, Chiefs are at
Chiefs
9.
are 9 and
That's
6.
right. So
they
they
can
couldn't
get
catch
11
them.
and 6.
So
By
yeah.
the way, this is going to be the Chiefs are guaranteed to have their worst record ever
Yep.
with Patrick Mahomes a quarterback. This is the first year they're
not
not going to
good.
get to 12 wins
People
in the
go-
regular season.
For some, I got a really good read on the Chiefs. I knew last year. I knew this year. I feel good about it.
Right now, who do
They're
you guys?
so trash. 11 and 6.
They're so bad. They're so bad.
We will be praying
They're
for 11
terrible.
and 6 right now.
Oh my god.
Right
11
now,
and 6?
who do you think wins the AFC? Not the one
The
seed, but
Ravens.
who wins and is
Yeah.
in the Super Bowl?
The Ravens. If Lamar keeps playing like the way he's playing, and the defense is playing really well at the same time,
Yeah.
I think the Ravens have it. Because I don't think the Bills are too iffy. The Dolphins are too iffy. The Chiefs are too iffy. I think the only consistent team has been
It's true.
the Ravens.
Yep. And I do think the Dolphins. I might take them over the Ravens if the Dolphins get home field in the playoffs. Like if the Ravens have to go to Miami in that AFC Championship game, the Dolphins in Miami are sick. Like I don't know how you beat them. Like they're just so fast, and if they have to go up to Baltimore though, they might lose that one by 30.
So then, do you think the Dolphins will beat the Ravens this week? Because they have to do that in order to get home field.
Yeah,
Like 3.5 point
probably
dots.
not.
Yeah.
Probably not. But I mean, you go play the game. Like I didn't think the Broncos would lose to the Patriots either. So where does that leave us? The other one.
You should have
maybe
stuck with
this
your
is
guns
maybe
and said
this-
that they were going to lose.
I don't want to be that guy. That's nobody wants to hear that.
What do you mean? You've been that guy with the Chiefs for years now.
I'm saying the Chiefs are bad all year. I think the Browns are honestly sneaky. I think in the way that any team can win any game in the NFL, if there was a team that could go on the road and steal a game, that defense is the best defense in the NFL. It sucks they don't have Nick Chubb, but that offensive line is one of the best offensive lines in the NFL. And you've got Amari Cooper out there. You didn't even have Amari Cooper last night, which is crazy. That's who Jerry Jeudy says is the best receiver in the NFL. Just there's a fun fact. I wouldn't be surprised if they actually do go steal a game, just because they can win so many different ways all of a sudden.
Yeah, they're good. They're not beating the Ravens though.
I doubt it. I mean,
They're too physical.
divisional game helps.
Yeah,
I think the Browns lose in the first round.
Oh boy.
the magic just fizzles.
Yep.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I've been standing by that for a couple of weeks, and I've just been proven wrong time and time again with Joe. But it's
Yeah.
gonna run out, right?
Yeah, I think
mean, it's
so.
a dude that was on his couch a month ago.
But
At some point,
he just comes from that era of like quarterbacks who just like are smart and pick their matchups and just get the ball where it needs to go, puts it on the money. Like every quarterback now just feels
Now
like
we got
it's
a
like
bunch of dummies trying to play.
exactly. It's all dummies now. Like everybody's like, oh, there's no scoring in the NFL. It's like, well, you should just have like geniuses in shotgun who knew everything the defense was doing. Those
Ryan
quarterbacks.
Fitzpatrick's?
Not, I was
a
thinking like
genius
Peyton
in-
Manning, Ben Roethlisberger, Phillip Rivers, not so much Ryan Fitzpatrick. But Joe Flacco's from that era. Like this whole era is now like the make a second play, it's not there at first, like break a tackle, leak out, get open. Joe can just stand there and put the ball where it needs to be and give receivers a chance. And when those receivers are David Njoku all of a sudden and Amari Cooper, and I mean Elijah Moore has looked awesome too, but I don't know if I buy that quite yet.
That
like,
scared me last night though.
Yeah.
I had chills. I couldn't even
Yeah.
I kept thinking about it. Like that was scary.
Yeah.
That was scary. And hopefully he's okay.
Yeah.
But Amari Cooper, like, he's one of those receivers who you just say, like, go ball. It's like, oh, they're sitting off, come back. It's like, oh, there's no help inside where you're isolated over there, just quick little slant. Like, you can do that whole, like, 14 targets to him all game. And Joe Flacco's the kind of quarterback who can take that matchup. That's
It's-
old school football.
It's all quarterback based though, everything. Because Amari Cooper had fizzled out.
Oh, yeah.
He completely fizzled out.
Yeah,
And Njoku
100%.
looked good, but he flashed, but it wasn't like consistent.
Yeah.
This
Yep.
is all because of quarterback play.
It
and
is.
that's why Sean has made the decision to move
Again,
on from Russell Wilson.
And if he had Joe Flacco sitting right there, Well, I guess we wouldn't have seen
Nobody
Joe Flacco
wanted
do this.
Joe to start the season.
It's true.
If Joe was
It's
coming
true.
in, even with the Browns, nobody thought that Joe was going to do anything.
But if like somehow magically like the Browns are just like, actually Joe, we're going back to DTR. Like this was
you
fun.
want Joe to come back here?
I mean, for these last 2 weeks, how could you not? There's
I
like
thought you were talking about next season.
no. No. But I mean, there's like what 4 teams in the NFL who wouldn't want Joe Flacco next week, who wouldn't take Joe Flacco over their starter. Maybe more than 4. Maybe like 8.
I think there'd be a lot that
Jags would take him.
John Elway was right on Joe Flacco. Just entering
Just
his
2 years
prime.
later.
yeah. Joe looks nice. What are these stats? Is it 5 games in a row he has 300 yards?
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, I think he just fell short of having the most passing yards in a month in NFL history.
Yep.
You know the only quarterback that has more in one single month?
Who?
Payton.
Yep.
Yep. In 2013, that record-setting season. That is just how good Joe's been playing for a month.
Sheesh.
It is wild.
I won so much money. I had him over 300 passing yards last night at like plus 250.
And he was at, what,
309,
halftime?
I think.
294?
So he went to halftime at 296, finished with 309.
No way. He had
Yeah.
15 yards in the second.
Yeah.
Oh, my
But I mean, they just
gosh.
ran the ball the entire time. I had a parlay, and this was the big one. Like, this is the one that would have, like, I wouldn't be here today. I would like call in sick. I might be in Vegas. All I needed was
Vegas.
one Kareem Hunt catch. Didn't throw to him all game until like the third to last drive. He goes out in the flat, and Joe just sails one over his head.
Oh, no.
Dang.
What were the odds on it?
It's like 10 to 1, 11 to 1.
Dang.
Yeah, that was a shame. One catch for Kareem Hunt.
Damn. Speaking of odds, you probably want to start planning for college for your kids soon. And you can do that with our friends over at College Invest, where it's important to start saving for college as early as possible. And College Invest makes it easy with flexible savings plans. You'll benefit from a Colorado tax deduction as well. And your savings can be used for trade schools and apprenticeships nationwide. So if you want to open one for yourself or you want to open one for one of your kids, go to collegeinvest.org to check them out.
And check out
MSU Denver, speaking of learning.
MS.
If you want to use your College Invest.
Oh, yeah. Also, you got 3 boys, right, Todd?
Yep.
Just get 3 football scholarships.
That's all they need.
There
I'm
you
not
go.
saying for
Exactly.
nothing.
There's no saving there. Just get them on the team. There you go.
You either get a scholarship or you're going to be right in front of DNVR with a sign.
Yes, one or the other. Or MSU Denver, which is a great option for just about anybody. Because they just offer so many different programs, including a bunch of programs that you can just create yourself. So you can pick your own major and say, here's what I want to study, and they'll help you go through this whole process. They've got in-person classes, online classes, hybrid classes, so you can really just build whatever sort of experience that you want. Personally, I would go in person because that's a really cool campus over there because it's right next to Ball Arena. And so, like, before like the NBA Finals games, like they'll just pack that entire campus with like, I think like the chain smokers were there. They had like the TNT guys like Shaq and Kenny and all those guys who like doing their show from like on that campus, which is awesome. And maybe that happens other places. Does not happen at the University of Montana though. That's for sure. So if you guys want to get in for spring 2024, applications are still open. Whether you've already gone to school and want to get another degree, whether you didn't finish, whether you're just starting or just about to graduate, whatever it is, they've got 90 majors. They've got 10 graduate programs. They've got courses in line, in person, both. So go to msudenver.edu.
All right. So, Henry, you boiled the playoff picture down, and it's messy.
It is messy.
To say
It'll
the
be
least.
super clear after this week.
So we've actually got that graphic. Let's pull it up here to make it super clear for this week. We're also going to be putting this out on social media. Let's get the graphic actually of what the Broncos need. No, not that one. The one that the Broncos need to happen this week and what they can't have happen with the elimination. You had it up earlier. There we go.
There's a bunch of graphics. I don't know which one it is.
So the Broncos have to win.
Yeah.
If the Broncos lose,
They sure do.
They're done. And honestly, if the Broncos lose this week and they lose back-to-back games to the Chargers and to the Patriots, they don't deserve to make the playoffs. No one's going to feel sorry for them.
Yeah.
And people probably aren't going to be tuning in week 18, and the Broncos kind of had that coming themselves.
Please tune in, though.
Yeah,
Please
tune
stay.
into us.
Yeah.
Just, you
Oh,
don't
not
tune
to the
into
game.
That's
Okay,
fine.
yeah.
Yeah.
Listen to us.
Don't tie either, you shouldn't be tying the Chargers. So don't tie. That just will make things really messy, too. So what you're rooting for is what Henry said. You want the Bills and or the Steelers to lose.
Yep.
And if just one of those happens, Broncos are fine. Then, Henry also mentioned how messy the AFC South is. You want let's go through these in a different way. I'm going to ask you guys what you think is going to happen, and then we're going to see if the Broncos are going to be alive.
Oh, and real quick, just with this graphic, too, for anybody watching, this is for the wild card elimination.
Yep.
You still have the whole, like, division Chiefs lose twice thing.
Right, exactly.
Just to be clear.
Do you think the Patriots beat the Bills?
No.
Okay.
Well, I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know.
Give me
I
some
don't
help.
like the Bills this year.
I don't either.
As a whole.
Patriots beat them earlier.
Yeah, and they've been playing just really bad football. Like the last game, I forget who they played, but they shouldn't even have won that game.
I agree.
And so maybe the Patriots beat the Bills.
I agree that maybe the Patriots beat the Bills. I can't pick the Patriots, but I don't think it's like cut and dry is what I was
There you
looking
go.
for. Cut and dry. It's not cut and dry.
So, Todd, who do you think wins?
Dang, I'm gonna say the Bills.
Yeah, I
Bills.
gotta
Okay,
say
it's,
the
it's
Bills.
in Buffalo. I agree with you. I do think that it's very much a possibility that they
Yeah.
lose,
Yeah.
though.
Belichick's motivated.
Steelers going into Seattle to play the Seahawks. Who wins that game?
Who's the
Seahawks.
Steelers quarterback now?
Mason Rudolph.
That's
this
Rudolph.
week.
Yeah, I'll take Geno.
Yep.
Wait, is Geno back?
He is.
Yes,
yeah.
he is
was
back.
back last week too.
I know.
think.
I was so locked into all the other stuff.
So I'm taking the Seahawks as well.
I'm taking Seahawks.
Okay, so then the Broncos still alive. In the first scenario, will the Texans beat the Titans? So now this is another scenario where all of these things have to happen in order for the Broncos to be eliminated this week. Will the Texans beat the Titans in Houston? I believe C.J. Stroud is back.
Let me
Okay,
check
is
this.
K-Jack player?
I think so.
Yeah. I say
CJ
yeah.
Stroud says he's back. Yeah,
Okay.
I'll take the Texans.
I agree. That's bad news for the Broncos, but
Oh.
many other things still have
Yep.
to happen. Do the Colts beat the Raiders in Indianapolis?
Colts, Raiders, Indianapolis.
No.
I think the Raiders are going to win.
I think the Raiders
did.
win that one as well.
Crazy enough, you want the Raiders to win this game because
Okay,
it doesn't
good.
matter. The Broncos control their own destiny when it comes to the Raiders, so that's what you want to happen. You
Yeah.
want the Raiders to actually beat the Colts here, and I think that'll happen. So then it doesn't matter what happens in the rest of this scenario because the Broncos are good. They're going to be alive with this. Now, will the No, we already had that. That's it.
All right.
If those things happen, and there's other scenarios that can also bust, or that can help the Broncos too. If those things happen, Broncos are going to be alive as long as they
Gotta
take
win.
care of business, something they were
Yep.
not able to do last week. So we just picked some games. Let's go around the rest of the AFC and pick, or AFC West, and officially make our Broncos picks. Are both of you taking the Raiders to beat the Colts in our official picks?
Yeah, I officially
Yep.
will take the Raiders.
Henry, you
Yep,
doing it too?
I got the Raiders.
All right, you're taking the Raiders. Let's see. Alexis is taking the Raiders as well. This is looking good for the Broncos. I'm also going to take the Raiders here, and we're still waiting on Ryan's picks. But let's go to the Chiefs Bengals game. Henry, you've been talking
I've got
a lot
the
of
Bengals.
shit. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how you couldn't, honestly. I mean, Bengals won 3 of 4. It sucks that they lost last week. They kind of got stomped by the Steelers, but, like, you look at what they've done before that, and there's wins against Jacksonville, wins against Indianapolis, win against the Vikings. Like, Vikings might not make the playoffs, but the other two probably will. I mean, they're rolling right now, and the Chiefs are not good. Chiefs are not good.
We saw. Did you guys see on the sideline? Andy
The
Reid
helmet?
bumping, and then bumping Travis Kelce after.
Mm-hmm.
They're falling apart potentially,
They are.
and they really fall apart if they lose this game.
The thing is, like, I feel like they fell apart like 3 weeks ago, and they just keep falling. Like, they're already apart. I don't know how much farther they can go, but they seem to keep trying.
Todd, are they falling apart to the
Yeah.
extent of losing to the Bengals?
I just feel like at some point they get it together. Not to where they're like the Chiefs of the past, but I think they play respectable football at some point.
Yeah.
Throughout the rest of the year. So I'm going to say the Chiefs are going to win this one, just because it's a tough group. They've been together for a long time. I know tempers flare, but we've been around each other for years. Like, there should be a way to kind of like recalibrate, get this thing back on track to some extent to beat the Bengals without their starting quarterback. I think they do it.
Yeah, Patrick Mahomes, Jake Browning in Geha Stadium.
Trash name.
Yeah, trash stadium. It's a good place for them to play, though, so I'm going Chiefs. Alexis is going Chiefs. I'm not sure about Ryan yet, but Henry, you could pick up a game on all of us.
How far back am I?
You are, so here's the standings. Ryan is 34-17, first place. Me and Alexis are tied at 31-20 for second place. Todd, Todd, you are one game behind us at 30-21. Henry, you're going to need a lot more than one game.
Damn.
You're 26-25,
Oh,
barely above 500.
That's what I get for picking the Broncos all year.
Pretty sure all of us have got caught in that. You've
That's
just
true.
been even worse with the rest of the AFC West.
Wow.
Yeah. So that all comes down to the Broncos. If the Broncos are going to be alive after this weekend, they simply have to beat a bad Chargers team. Vegas thinks that the Broncos are still going to win, but don't have as good of a chance with Jarrett Stidham. I want to know what you guys think. Let's get our Broncos picks after I tell you about Breckenridge Beer, or we're going to have Breckenridge Brewery at the DNVR tailgate. We've got Breckenridge Beer at the DNVR bar. That shows just how much we love it. We've put our stamp of approval on it. It's the official beer of DNVR. And if you want to get some Broncos Country Hoppy Pale Ale this weekend, Breckenridge Brewer is going to have that for you. You can be rocking the Broncos old school D on your beer can because Breckenridge Beer is that official beer of the Broncos as well. So check them out at breckbrew.com. You can get figure out exactly where to get Breckenridge Beer over at breckbrew.com. They've got the beer locator, so check out the official beer of DNVR this week. It's a Breck Brew Friday, too, so make sure to get some.
And shout out to our friends over at Shady Rays. If you want to look good, feel good, play good, you got to make sure that your shades are good. And Shady Rays definitely has you covered. And right now, if you use the code DNVR, you get 50% off 2 or more polarized shades. You can take on the sun with gear that's built to last. Our friends over at Shady Rays have you covered for the sun ahead and also with premium polarized shades at an affordable price. They're an independent sunglass company that offers a world-class product that's just as good as any expensive pair that I've ever worn. They have durable frames and extremely clear optics for outdoor adventures. They have shades. They have goggles. If you want to hit the slopes, they got you covered. Go check out our friends over at Shady Rays and tell them DNVR sent you.
All right, let's get into our Broncos picks, and that means our parting shots for the weekend presented by Breckenridge Distillery. Are the Broncos' playoff chances going to be alive? Let's do it with... You want to take a shot, Henry?
We gotta go practice. We gotta go. Oh,
Young Shata.
up there on the finger
Little
guns.
Josie Jewel.
I asked Jonathan Cooper yesterday. He said he appealed, but still hasn't heard back. So they still don't know if they're getting fined for the finger
Who?
guns. Cooper. Josie got the fine. I didn't talk to him, but I imagine he hasn't heard
I
back
was about
either.
to say, we got some problems if only Jonathan's getting fined.
Wait, what happened? So Josie got fined. Jonathan Cooper got fined. Alex was on the broadcast multiple times with the finger guns. Didn't get fined. So there were multiple people in the locker room saying like, hey, maybe you should chip in for this stuff. Last I heard, Alex did not agree. Hopefully the fines are just like taken away again.
Yeah.
You don't get fined with parting shots by Breckenridge Distillery. That's always safe. So check out our friends over at BreckenridgeDistillery.com. All right, Todd, fire us up. How's this game going to go?
I got it. Hey, get it being turned up, TD. Let's go get it being turned up. Oh, my God. But this feel fucking great. This feel fucking great right here, baby. Hey, we got to cross the line. It's time to whoop their ass. It's time to whoop their ass. Let's bring them to these boys now. Let's go, y'all. It's on us. Let's go to one. Let's go to one. Broncos on 3. 1, 2, 3. Broncos.
Man, in that trash stadium. I love how trash it is. All right, Todd, Broncos going to win. How is this game going to go down? Since we haven't really broke down the game, we can go through and break down the game as well.
Yeah, I think that it's going to be a good game for the Broncos. I do think that Jarrett Stidham is going to bring a little bit of energy, similar to that new head coach boost. I think that guys are going to be ready to play. Guys are going to feel like it's a new opportunity, specifically guys like Jeudy, that wide receiver room. I think they're excited for what's to come. Not saying that anybody hates Russell Wilson, but I just think they're excited for a new opportunity. So I see the Broncos really having a great game and a great game plan. That's the thing. Like, we look at Jarrett Stidham's stats in the preseason, like nobody's game planning the preseason.
True.
We're not telling you where to go with the football. We're just like, we put a play up and we see how everybody runs it. This will be a much more dialed in, detailed game plan for this game. So I look for Jarrett Stidham to have some easy throws, some throws to get him going. And so I think the Broncos will take it, man. I think the Broncos will win 24-6.
Oh,
Big numbers.
I think it'll be a good game for the Broncos.
So the Jarrett Stidham move doesn't just juice the offense up; it juices the entire team up.
Yeah, for sure. Because, I mean, they scored late in the game last time we played them. We really held them.
It's true.
So I think it'll be a good game.
Yep. I go
Henry?
the other way. You know, that first practice after the decision came out, and granted it's only like a couple hours later, it was quiet in there. Like, it was weird. Like, you walk in, like, usually it's like everybody's dancing, having fun, they're like going all that stuff, but it was a lot of just like standing still, like just robotic. No, I don't want to say like going through the motions, but just like it was uncomfortable, as it should be. And yesterday in the locker room, everything had more energy. Obviously, like, I wouldn't say Russ was in like the greatest headspace, but it was the voting day for the top 100, and for like the Pro Bowl, and so everybody's like having fun, filling things out. Mitchell Fraboni's getting put on ballots, the long snapper, and so like the energy did kind of come back a little bit. So I wonder if it bounces back. But that first practice, I looked at that team and thought like they're done. Like they know this is kind of like we've moved on. Like we blew it last week. We made the change. It's over. And it bounced back a little bit, and hopefully that kind of continues. But I kind of go the opposite way that you went, but hopefully they kind of rally. I got Chargers 16-9. I think that's
Chargers winning?
Yeah, Chargers win 16-9.
Wow. It's tough because it's hard when the guy's still there. Usually when we make a big move like that, like a Randy Gregory, like he's going, okay, let's, you know what I'm saying, we're going to turn things around. But he's still there. He's still practicing. Like, we can't actually show if we are happy.
Exactly.
You have to look sad. You know what I'm saying? It's tough.
And it does seem that's what it's. I was surprised. At least a couple of people I talked to had Russ on their top 20 or top 100 ballots. They like ranked their top 20 or whatever for the NFL top 100. And I was just like, yeah, so who'd you put on there? And they'd be like, oh, Tyreek Hill. You know, we got Sauce was on there, Pat was on there, Russ was on there. There were a few of those guys, and like when you have guys like still putting Russ on that ballot, Courtland was the other one on the team who got on there a bunch.
I bet
Just
Russ
like,
still makes the top 100.
I bet he does.
No way.
I bet he does.
you he
98,
does.
I bet he does.
No
Yeah.
I mean, they always have like 10 quarterbacks at least.
Yeah,
on there.
quarterbacks can
Like, as a top,
dominate
he'd be a top
the
10
top
quarterback.
top
yeah.
100.
I would be shocked.
Really?
I bet you.
Bro, I was
Pizza
going
bet.
through.
Pizza bet.
Oh, I'll definitely put a pizza bet on that.
We
Yeah.
haven't had
I'll put a
pizza bets in
lot on
months.
that.
Do you know a pizza bet?
No, you bet whoever you
Exactly.
wins pizza.
Yeah,
Yeah,
say
can
something.
you-
And then we always forget.
You're smart, Todd.
Yeah, you figured that out. You figured that one out. I'm owed like 5 pizzas, and I don't even remember from who.
Oh, man.
I'm owed a nice dinner from you.
That
and
is
Ryan.
true. We made it through a whole season. What a nice
Yep,
dinner. That's
yep,
right. We got to
yep.
go get that figured out. Maybe in Vegas.
Ooh.
They've got some nice
Yeah,
food.
they got some
Maybe I
fun.
shouldn't have said that.
Yeah, cash in on that.
Yeah, we'll see. Our cast to approve. I'm not allowed to make those decisions.
I think that because of Sean Payton putting together, and maybe this is a slight at Russ, but I think Sean's going to put together a great game plan for Jarrett Stidham, and Jarrett Stidham is going to execute it. And I think that Jarrett Stidham puts up a season high in points for the Broncos this week. Sean is going to get in his bag. This is going to be Sean Payton. He's got a lot of heat, not just nationally and from like Ryan Clark today. He has got so much heat from Broncos country. A lot of Broncos country's out on Sean, or at least really out on this decision on Sean. I think Sean's going to get everyone back, at least in Broncos country, with what he does this week, and I think he knows how much is at stake. So I think he's going to put up 34 points. And Todd, it also helps that they're playing a trash Chargers team, as you call them, trash. 34-17. Broncos win in dominating fashion. I think their season and playoff hopes are still alive after this week. And Sean is looking better than he has all season after this game right here. Alexis is going the Henry Chisholm route. She has the Broncos losing 20-17. And I'll get Ryan's picks when I know that I have no idea where Ryan's going to go here. But I think this is going to be a Jerry Jeudy game. big time.
Yeah.
Jerry Jeudy game. The Broncos have 100-yard rusher and receiver combined in this season.
Yeah.
You know who it is? They only have one game where a player has either had 100 rushing yards or 100 receiving yards. One this entire season.
What game that was?
Or
what
you know
player?
who it is? Yeah.
Marvin Mims?
Yep.
Marvin Mims. Yep. You know what game it was?
It was a while ago.
It was a
was. I
while
can't-
ago. Think about the
Commanders?
first best game the Broncos had.
Oh.
The first good game.
Okay, it was a early game.
It was
Yep.
an early game. Yep.
It was we lost to the Commanders.
Yep. Lost to the Commander. Was not that. You're right.
I don't
You're on the
even
right
remember
track
who
of
we
thinking,
beat.
though. Yep. Yep. Yep.
They
That's all
really
you have to
shouldn't have
think
won.
of. It did not
It
look
was
like
the-
they were going to win for a long time.
It wasn't the Bears game. It was the Bears
It was
game.
the Bears
Okay.
game. That was
Yep.
the first win.
And I
They should have
believe-
lost that one too.
Yeah, yeah. And I believe Marvin had one big catch near the
Oh, he
end of the
did.
game
He
in
did.
order to ice it and put the Broncos in position to win that game. That's what put him over 100 yards. That's the only player that has 100 yards that's not a quarterback
Wow.
in a single game. I think Jerry does it this week.
Let's
I think
do it.
Jerry Jeudy is going to have a 100-yard game. And this isn't just against, like, Russ. I think the Broncos likely aren't going to have Courtland Sutton. He's still in the concussion protocol. So Jerry is the number one by far.
Yeah.
And Jerry also just works better with a timing quarterback that Sean is going to make Jarrett Stidham this week. So
Maybe.
I expect a massive game from maybe 150 yards from
Okay.
Jerry Jeudy. Jarrett Stidham's going to be close to 300 yards. We might be looking at the best statistical game from a quarterback in terms of passing that we've seen. And the final thing I want to do with you guys is see what type of game you think Jarrett Stidham is going to have. I'm going to throw a stat line out. I'm going to throw individual stats out. You tell me if he's going to have more or less than these stats. 204 passing yards.
I think he's gonna have more than that.
Really? I go under. I mean, Russ rarely hits 200.
That's the
Okay.
problem.
1.5 passing touchdowns.
Ooh. I want to say over.
Over. Yeah, here's taking the over too.
I got
Henry.
the under.
You got the under. Half an interception. So will he have an
Ooh.
interception?
Yeah, I think he's gonna have an interception.
Yeah, here's going
Yep.
yes too, Henry.
Yep.
You think like if I put that number at like 5.5, are you still taking the over?
I'm not taking the over on that. But I mean, I can't take the over on the touchdowns. Like, I
Okay.
got 9 points.
66.5 completion percentage.
Under. I mean, career
Over.
58.
Over.
Okay.
3 sacks.
We're running RPO all game long.
Oh.
Quick throws.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow, yeah.
3 sacks. 2.
2, Henry.
I got to go over.
Okay. Those stats
Khalil
that I
Mack.
just threw out are Russell Wilson's averages
Okay.
throughout this season. Todd, you think that Stidham's going to outperform Russ's average on the season? Henry, you think Jarrett Stidham is going to underperform from what Russ has done? Yahir thinks he's going to be better than Russ.
I'm drinking the Kool-Aid, man. I think
I'm drinking it at least for this week.
he's
Like,
more
I'll
of a
take a
Mac.
sip.
He's more of a Mac Jones kind of type of player, in my opinion. Like the style of play.
You
which-
hope he is.
Well, no. The thing is, Jerry Jeudy works really well with that, and if that's gonna get him over the line, I'm all in.
Yeah.
All in, I think Russ is going to have way more, or Stidham's going to have way more than 200 passing yards. I definitely think he's going to have 2 passing touchdowns. I also think he's going to have an interception
Yeah,
or 2.
I think so,
I mean,
too.
I think we're looking at last year's Raiders 49ers game. 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and 34 points. Exactly what he did. Todd, I hope you're right on how this game goes.
No, don't just put it on me. You feel like it's gonna go. You're the one that said 34
I didn't
points.
want to give myself credit here. I hope we're right,
Yeah,
Todd.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
I
yeah.
hope you are so wrong
I
about
hope
this,
so,
Henry,
too.
because I hope we are going to Vegas with a Broncos playoff chances
Yep.
still alive. And this pod's not over yet. Let's hit the 2 super chats we got rolling in. We got one from GGG, Triple G coming in and says, "Gentlemen, good day. We need a miracle."
We do.
Yes, we do. Todd, that's the perfect way to put it. The Broncos need a miracle to get in the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely.
They do.
And last one coming in from our friend Exotic Gaming says, Mac Jones and Stidham for backup role and Bo Nix or JJ McCarthy for the starter, a realistic scenario. Also, is Sean's pride too big to lose out purposefully?
Yeah.
You can't. I don't know how you're getting Mac. I mean, you got 5 picks in this draft. 6 picks in this draft.
You mean trading for Mac?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you're Stidham and rookie are competing. And I guess Stidham's your
100%.
starter next year.
So
At least to start the season. If I had to guess, I mean, but if you're taking a quarterback mid-first, he's starting week 1. Okay.
oh yeah,
Week 1.
the rookies
Okay.
start in week 1.
Okay.
But because we don't know who the rookie is,
They don't
Henry,
have
I
anything
agree
to
with you.
trade up.
Jarrett Stidham is the front runner to be the starter next year.
Yeah.
And then once they draft that rookie, he jumps to be the number
Yeah.
one guy. Man, it's going to be so fun to break down these quarterbacks because I agree with you, Todd. I think this is the best quarterback draft in a long time. Obviously, there's been so much hype for Caleb Williams. Drake
Yep.
May over the past couple of months has got so much hype. But we're going to see a lot more hype for the Michael Penixes of the world,
Yeah.
for
Yep.
the Jaden Daniels. That's the guy I think you need to keep your eye on. And then there's Bo Nix, J.J. McCarthy. There's so many guys. We got so much time to talk about it.
Yep.
But let's hope that we're still talking about a Broncos playoff potential berth this weekend.
I have had this sneaking suspicion all week. And I hate to say it, but what I think is going to happen is so the Chiefs and Broncos kick off at the same time. I think at halftime, the Chiefs are going to be down like 10 points, and the Broncos are also going to be losing. And I think there's a real chance that they just say, like, fuck it, we got to get Russ in there. I think it's a real scenario. I think it's a real
no way
scenario.
Sean does that.
Zero chance. I
It's gonna
think
stink.
They asked about Sean's pride. I think
That is
Yeah.
true. That
it's
is
too
true.
big to do that.
I think Russell Wilson will be sitting at home for this game. More of a chance than he comes in the second half to
Yeah.
try to win the Broncos a game.
Even if the Chiefs are down, even
Yeah.
if the AFC
Yeah.
West all of a sudden's back alive.
Yep.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be shocked if we
Ugh.
hear today or tomorrow that Russ is going to be inactive and that
He-
he's been
yeah.
sent home. I don't know if that's going to happen, but that's a way bigger chance
Okay.
than Russ coming in because Sean, he's not going to do that. But that's going to do it for us. We're going to be back on the pregame show. Tune in around 1:30, 1:40 on DNVR Sports YouTube. Thank you all so much for rolling with us this week with what has been a crazy week. The Broncos season is still alive, and let's hope it's still alive Sunday night. Thank you all for rolling with us. We'll see you Sunday.
We all silly like the mayor.